So, in five, four, three, two, one. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our college golf night, sponsored by the Junior Golf Podcast. And so, listen, we have a great lineup for tonight. We know we got a lot of junior golfers that's excited about the future, excited about possibly one day playing in college and, possibly even the next level. But before we even get to the next level, we got to go through college and see if we can get some coaches to take a look at what we're doing out here in the junior golf space. And so we got an incredible lineup tonight, and we've got Coach Sam per year from Howard University that's going to be on. We've got Coach John Cole from Fayetteville State University that's on. We got Darren Harrell, from playcollegegolf.net. We've got Charles Penny that's going to be on from Winston Salem State University. We've got Phyllis Thompson, who's my beautiful mom, who's going to talk about enrollment, admissions, financial aid. She's going to talk about that. And then we've got Coach Andy Walker from VCU that's going to be on tonight. So without any further delay, we're going to go ahead and get started. And I want to introduce our first speaker, and they're going to talk about the expectations. They actually have, things that they're going to cover tonight. And so they're going to talk about what type of events you should be playing. They may talk about social media. They've got different things that they're going to talk about tonight. So without any further delay, I want to bring up our first speaker tonight, and that's none other than Coach John Cole from Fayetteville State University. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Hey, Ro, thanks for having me on, man.
Hey, man, thanks for being on tonight. Thanks for agreeing to do this. You've got the floor. Talk to our juniors and junior parents tonight.
No, yeah, absolutely. I think this is going to be a great event to get some information out to these parents. I've got a few things that I want to cover. Just dealing with entry into college golf and kind of getting your name out there, things like that. And I'll try to work these in and go down this list and try to tie them into each other. The first thing I've got is just a golf resume. And that's just something just like a professional resume. If you're looking to get a job, things like that, it's got your golf background, scores, basically anything having to do with your golf game you can put into this resume. And that's just something that gives the coach a snapshot of where your abilities are right now, and maybe where you came from. But what we like to see at Fayetteville State, definitely some scores within the maybe 1 to the last 3 years. If you have 3 years, that's great. But if we can see progression as you're working through the junior golf scope, that's something that's very important to us. It sees that you're coachable, you're improving. Maybe you haven't reached your ceiling yet, and hopefully you can improve once you get to college as well. So having those scores from the last couple years, 3 years if possible, that's really good. The next piece I have is to include some references. So maybe high school coach, your swing coach, anybody that you've maybe done some volunteer work with, things like that is very good. That gives us a chance to make those phone calls and kind of get a little bit of background information on that player. And then also adding your schedule. So anything that you're going to play in the next several months that we can, as coaches, get to, check out your playing, stuff like that is going to be very important to us. Seeing how you react to different situations on the golf course, that's going to be huge for us. And then maybe some links to swing videos. I think that's a good piece to have included in there. And then also as we work down, I've got the NCAA Eligibility Center listed. And this is something that a lot of parents don't really know about. And if you're going to play any sport, I think in college, you have to be registered with the Eligibility Center. Now, that website has changed up a little bit in the last couple of years. If you log on to the website, you can Google NCAA Eligibility Center. It'll take you right to it. But now there's a different front home screen look. And you want to choose option 3. I think it's listed as academic and amateurism. You've got to pay a little bit of money for it, but you have to do it if you want to play college athletics. So that's extremely important. And also work through that checklist. Once you get your NCAA ID number, work through that checklist and don't wait till the last minute, because it does take some time for this stuff to go through. When you request for amateurism, it takes a few days. Your transcripts to go in, that takes maybe a couple weeks, depending on how you send that stuff out. So extremely important to even add that ID number to your golf resume. And also working with that as far as getting your name out there, social media, like what Rode talked about. Definitely include some kind of social media link. And also when you're doing your social media, if you'll put, obviously your name will be there, maybe put your class, your current high school, and maybe any other links that you have, maybe to reach your recruitment page if you use like maybe NCSA or something like that. So just the more information we can access easily, and social media does that. So that's a great asset for parents and kids as well. And also working into that, emails to coaches, and this goes along with the golf resume. And the last time I was on Rose podcast, I talked about this, but cast a wide net. Anywhere that you think you could see yourself playing college golf, send those coaches that email, because you need to have options. That's the biggest thing. I know you're going to have your top 5 schools or whatever that may be, but if those maybe in the long run aren't an option going down the road as you work through recruitment, you need to cast a wide net. Anywhere you think you see yourself playing college golf, send those emails to coaches and do some research on the university and the golf team, the coach, stuff like that, and personalize that email, and then obviously attach your golf resume. And going forward, junior tournaments, obviously, like I said before, posting that schedule where we can come and watch you guys. I know for us at Fayetteville State, we're a North Carolina school. Playing your state golf association events are really good. We're lucky here in North Carolina. The CGA is very good with North and South Carolina as far as putting on solid junior tournaments with solid fields. And we just got back from the Jim Thorpe Invitational, so we go to stuff like that. We're going to try to go to the MAC Champ. So these big tournaments, try to get into them and get your name out there. And then also, if we're looking at the tee sheet, we're watching, we may be going for kid A, but we may end up seeing kid B or C, and we don't know who they are, but we see their name on the tee sheet. We may be able to look them up on social media, and then we can find some more information out, maybe reach out on how to contact them, find some parents' information, stuff like that. So very important to get into some of these bigger tournaments and get your name out there. But that's some of the stuff I wanted to cover. And I know it went pretty quick, but that's a lot of important information, I think, for parents.
Hey, Coach, that was great. That was great. And I'm sure we'll get some elaboration on some of the things that you covered by some of the other coaches that we'll hear from in just a few minutes. But thanks for all that information. And next up, you all, we have Darren Harrell from playcollegegolf.net. And he's going to cover some of the stuff that Coach John just covered. Concerning the golf resume and all the things that you got to be looking out for. And Coach Darren, you all, actually has a daughter that's playing college golf right now at Howard University. So Darren, I want to turn the platform over to you. Take it away.
Hey, thanks. Welcome everybody. Glad to be on the podcast here. Coach Cole kind of gave a real good blueprint of what I'm going to talk about tonight. I wanted to start off with, I am assuming that everyone on this call is wanting to play golf on the next level. And my initial question that I have when I talk to kids on podcasts and in person is, what is your plan to get to that next level? What is your plan to get on a coach's radar? And Play College Golf is a proven platform that we've developed over, we're about 4 years old. This program has been developed by college coaches that have been on our staff. In fact, Andy will be on here tonight, and Andy was an integral part of some of the stuff that we did in the beginning and starting to help him when he was at South Mountain, find kids during those times, and all the resumes that I used to watch him go through, and what the good ones were, the bad ones, and really took what was going on in all those resumes and tried to create a resume that gets all the information that a college coach would be looking for in a one-page resume, because of the time constraint of a college coach taking a look at resumes. They don't really, and all my guys don't want to see 4-page resumes. They want straight to the point, and I'm sure Andy will come on here and Coach and Sam will come on here and say, I need really the meat of what I need to look for and the numbers and the academics, and Play College Golf does all that. I want to also say that, you know, for all the kids, and I was at the Jim Thorpe too, and I'm sorry, Coach Cole, I didn't get a chance to meet you while I was there, but I always say to those kids when we were on the panel at the Jim Thorpe is there's a place to play for everyone who wants to play college golf. Everyone has a different playing profile. You've got kids that are, you know, I hate to say the word elite, but you know, that 1% that's going to be going to the high Division I programs, but then you've got 98%, 99% other kids that are going to funnel in to all the different programs, Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA. Sometimes JUCOs even become a really great option for a developing kid in order to go through and restart and come back in 2 years and be a viable player for a higher division. So I want to make sure that the number one question that I get every time I go and speak anywhere is, how do I get on a coach's radar? And that's what Play College Golf was built for. I hope you get a chance to go out and take a look at what we've put together at playcollegegolf.net, and you will see on there all the things that, you know, we have on the resume that goes directly to what a coach is looking for. It's very simple. It's an interactive resume, so you're able to put all your information in one place. It expands for your tournaments. So as Coach Cole said, you know, he wants to see 3 years. You can put 3 years on our resume, and it still only shows up as one page, and it expands out. Academics, a huge part of every coach's, you know, search for college players, and that is right out front. We have swing video on there, down the line and face on for coaches. So we've built this thing to be able to attract and get the quick information out to coaches. The only thing, and it's on a template, so the only thing players are really putting on there as far as taking thought is the idea of why you want to play college golf. What's your personal statement? And we ask that of all the players that are on there. We also share cover letters that are going out to coaches, not to plagiarize those, but to just give you a real good idea of what a cover letter looks like, to making sure that you're personalizing those cover letters and getting the information that coaches need in order to move forward on your deals. We also have a few things that are a little bit different than a lot of different recruiting agents. And I want to stress that we are not a recruiter. We don't consider ourselves in that class of recruiter. We don't shop kids out to college coaches. College coaches really want to hear directly from the kid and not from an outside agency. So you'll never see Play College Golf on any resume that goes out from any of our students or student athletes. We put a classified section in there where we allow college coaches who get onto our site for free to be able to search for kids, to be able to put their opportunities on our site. So if they have playing spots for 23, 24, 25, they can put them on there. That's not promising scholarships. That's just saying there's playing spots and possible scholarships if you meet the criteria or the playing profile for that individual coach or program. I want to talk about a couple of little things that I see all the time, and that is from the parents and the players, is being realistic about the schools that you're actually sending your resume to. One of the big problems that I see, and parents always ask me, why am I not getting contacted? And I can pretty much put it in two buckets. It's either that you are applying to schools that your playing profile is not yet at. If I went and talked to a kid and said, where do you want to go? They're going to say the largest state school in their state 9 times out of 10. And that's a great wish list. But if your playing profile isn't there, you can talk to Andy and those guys when they get on about VCU and what kind of kids that they, you know, recruit and the numbers they'll be talking. And if you're not shooting those numbers and you send a resume in there, don't expect to get a call back. If not that you're a bad player, you just don't fit their playing profile. Whereas other schools, you'll be perfect for their profile. And as long as you can find what that school is, now you're going to be in a much better place. And how do you find that? Working with your swing instructors or your coaches to be obvious and be realistic about your playing ability. There's schools out there that 76 is the #1 player on some of their teams. Everybody's thinking that, well, I can play at these big schools. Well, talk to Andy about what his qualifying scores are when they're going out to play. The qualifying scores are way under par versus what the tournament scores are. And so to get on a course, and I always tell kids the same thing, you want to go somewhere where you have the ability to play. Carrying a bag and not getting on the golf course, that does nothing for your playing career. So I want to definitely emphasize that. Let's see here. Classification, talked about coaches info. Our site has every coach across the country from Division I through JUCO with their email addresses and how to contact each one of those, which is a standard thing for a lot of schools, but we also give you team sizes. So I'll tell you how many seniors they have all the way down to freshmen, as long as the coach is registered on our site. And like I said, we open our site up for coaches to go onto our site and give us as much information as possible. We've had 7 kids over the winter months that have either accepted offers or are in the midst of accepting offers to universities who didn't have scholarship opportunities when they came to us. So we see a lot of students in their senior years that are at the end of their playing career, and I'm trying to change that. I'd really like all our parents to know that you should be starting this as your freshman year and starting to get an idea of where you want to go. Maybe the playing ability is not where you want to be in a freshman year, but you can start getting all the information, your clearinghouse number, starting to get that consistency factor that, you know, as Rose said, my daughter's playing at Howard. I never preached the idea of go out and win tournaments. I wanted to build a player that a coach could trust and had a consistent score at all times. You win, you win. Winning is just because it's your week. But playing consistent, you can do that every day of the week if you go out and practice and work hard the way you're supposed to be able to be a viable member of a college golf team. I don't want to hold this, but I also want to offer out here that we got a special offer for any of the kids that are on here tonight. There's going to be a code. And if you've got a pen, write this down. It's all caps. It is JR Golf, GOLF 25. And that'll give you a 25% discount off of our services. So it's $149 for the resume system. And that gets you the whole platform, everything that I've talked about tonight. And that's going to be open until March 1st for anyone that's coming off of here. And I hope, Ro, you can put that in the notes as far as going back out there. But we are here to answer questions, to help with anything that you need recruiting wise. And the same as with the coaches, you know, we're here as a resource for you. Like I say, we don't send players to individual universities, but you would see in our classified section what schools are actively looking for schools. I had 3 new schools that came on today that had opportunities for 23 and 24 looking for players. So there's opportunities out there. You just need to go about the process in the right way, which is build a resume. You have to have a calling card before you try to contact any coach across this country, because they're going to ask you for that at some point in time. A resume of your playing skills. The opportunity that someone's going to come and find you, that's not going to happen. That's not a normal thing that goes on, that coaches go just searching around the country looking for names that they don't know. So we're here as a resource, and all our information at info@playcollegegolf.net, or you can share my information too, Ro, if someone wants to contact me directly and has questions on the resume.
All right, thank you, Darren. And Darren, if you don't mind, if you'll hit the chat button, put the playcollegegolf.net link out there,
Yeah.
and then attach the code, and then people can go into the chat and they can go to it and save it and check out your service. Okay.
Will do.
And I appreciate you doing the discount for everybody that's on the college golf night tonight. We've been using the site for about a year and a half, and I've been going on and updating Lil John's resume. So we appreciate all you do at playcollegegolf.net.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Next up, y'all, we have none other than this is my mom. Just in case anybody wanted to know, Phyllis Thompson. She's a retired admissions and enrollment manager at Benedict College. And so now she's over a nationwide organization that provides scholarships for HBCUs. The name of her organization is NACDRAO. She'll probably talk about that a little bit in her introduction. So at this time, I want to turn it over to my dear mom, Phyllis Thompson.
Good evening, everyone, again, and thank you, my son, Rolando. He doesn't like the full name, but I do call him that, Rolando. Yes,
I'm gonna get you for that.
I know you will. I do have 30 years plus experience in higher education, And I actually started out as an admissions counselor recruiter for Benedict College and excelled myself to the position of Associate Vice President for Enrollment Management to Vice President for Enrollment Management. But I've been with the organization NACDRAO. It stands for the National Association of College Deans, Registrars, and Admissions Officers. And what we do is we collaborate with various institutions of higher learning. It's not just for HBCUs, it's for everyone, to include your JUCO and your junior colleges. In fact, we will be hosting our 98th conference in Durham, North Carolina, at North Carolina Central University, March 27th through the 31st. And that at that point, we will have students from both high schools and community colleges to come on the campus of NCCU to meet with various college representatives from across the state of North Carolina and beyond. My experience has been get them in the 9th grade first, coaches. First, we have to talk about academics and then that touch point. I always tell my grandson, John, you got to get those academics first in order for you to be looked at for college and in order for you to be able to maneuver yourself through the NCAA clearinghouse. So the academics are very important. And also making sure that you take the SAT and the ACT or the ACT. Those are very important steps in order to get to the level of golf that you want, or just academics. My main thrust is always academics. You got to have a point of contact. And that point of contact could be Coach Harrell, it could be Coach Walker, it could be Coach Cole. Any of the coaches, if they reach out to you, you make sure that you follow through with the coaches that reach out to you, whether it's the Division I, Division II, or even the Division III school. It's very important. Completing an application. If you're a junior, upcoming junior, or if you're a junior now, going into your senior year, during the summer is a very important time for you to reach out to the colleges just to apply, because you have to apply before you can get accepted into the college. And in order to get accepted to the college, you've got to be enrolled in the college in order to play the college sports. In order to play the college sports, you've got to be cleared through the clearinghouse. You've got to be cleared through the compliance office at the college. So those are the kinds of steps that you need to look for when you are headed off to college. You have to make sure that you do your financial aid. Financial aid is very important. Financial aid has to be done, at least, I say has to be, it doesn't have to be, unless your parents are eligible to pay the full cost of you attending that college. But it's very important for you to complete that FAFSA no later than June 30th of each year. We want you to do it sooner. The FAFSA is opened up in October of the previous year. Example, we are now into 2023. The FAFSA application was opened up in October of 2022 for you to complete. It's always good to complete it, because you never know what you might be able to acquire from it. When I say acquire, I mean you could acquire grants and of course the ability to get loans. Those are the things that the federal government offers you, grants and loans. So just make sure that you complete your FAFSA. Make sure that you list, I think there's 10 spaces on the FAFSA that you can list every college that you conceivably want to attend. Put a college in all of those spaces. Make sure that you check in with the colleges to see if they've received your FAFSA. But again, the ideal time is October of each year. And that's not a one-time process. The FAFSA has to be completed annually by every student. And parents, we know that we have to use your tax information. So don't be afraid of that. It has to be done. It has to be put into the application. So make sure that you or your son or daughter it has that information so that the FAFSA can be completed and completed accurately. More importantly, once you get into school, once you get into the college of your choice, make sure you do the matriculation, that is to get your academic completed, make sure you get involved socially, but more importantly, make sure you stay in touch or stay connected to your coach. Do what your coaches ask you to do. That's very important. Because if you don't do those things that the coaches ask you to do, whether it's getting up 4 o'clock in the morning to go out and do practice shots, or whether it's staying late in the evening doing practice shots, it's very important because they know and they see what it is that you need to do in order to build to the next level. And more importantly, that time in between, don't use it just socially. Make sure that you use it academically too. Study, make the grades that you need to make to matriculate through the process, through the years that you have at the institution that you are wanting to attend. That's called your time management as well. Make sure you manage your time wisely. Make sure that your institutions have the proper food for you to eat, because golfing is a very grueling heat process sports, just like any other sports as well. But when you're playing 9 and 18 holes in the sun, that truly makes a difference, and it pulls all of the nutrients out of you. So make sure that your institution has a I forget the name of the plate that they have to have, or section that they have to have for the athletes. But there is a coach, one of the coaches kind of helped me out and tell me what the name of that process is. The meals that the students have to have, or the nutritions that the students have to have.
Is that for the athletes, Mom?
Yeah, that's for the athletes, for the football players, for the golf players. You know, when they're coming in late in the evening, and there's a certain
terminology.
Yeah, there's a certain meal that they have to have. Make sure that that happens too. And I'm sure that the coaches will as well. Last but not least, I want to make sure Coach Darian, Coach Cole, Coach, all of my coaches from my colleges, we are having a big college fair here in Columbia on March 15th. Colleges will be there to get your students accepted, admitted, enrolled, or information. We will also have businesses there to talk to the students about various opportunities for internships and scholarships. We have quite a few state agencies that will be there. We are also having, again, the HBCU College Fair at NCCU. Coaches at our HBCUs, if your colleges have not signed up for this gigantic event that's going to happen at NCCU, please make sure that they do so. It is the NACDRAO 98th NACDRAO Conference at NCCU. We are very delighted to be representative here in the college golf night. We want to continue this effort. You can go to our website, nacdrao.org, and kind of look around at it. Ro is going to be the monitor for that particular website, and we'll certainly put information on there as long as your institution is a member institution about the various sports and information that you want to share with students and parents, because we will be guiding students and parents towards that particular website as well. Last but certainly not least, I'm getting ready to send out a letter to all of the Fortune 500 companies to see if we can get them involved in the many activities that Ro and I are involved in. So look forward to a lot of great things coming out of the junior golf podcast and NACDRAO. Ro has been trying to get me to do a podcast for NACDRAO, but I haven't had the chance to do so. But keep your head up, young people, and make sure that you do those things that we are asking you to do in terms of getting to where you want to go. With that being said, I yield my time back to you, Rolando, and we will move forward from there. I hope I wasn't too long as well. And I'll be glad to answer any questions that anyone might have at the end of the session.
Yes, thanks, Mom. And we're gonna open it up for Q&A in just a few minutes. We got a couple more coaches that's gonna come before you. I think the session has been going great, everybody. And I know y'all excited. Just kind of hold your questions towards the end. Do we have Coach Penny on yet, or Coach Puryear? Coach Stam, is Coach Sam on? I can't see your name, so.
I see Coach Perry is here.
Oh, okay, he's on. Okay,
Yeah,
give me
he's
a second. Okay, let me see if I can find him real quick. Oh, I see him. Hey, Coach. All right, so let's get Coach in here. I'm gonna pin him, and of course, I'm gonna spotlight Coach Puryear. Okay, so next up, you all, we want to hear from Howard University's coach, Coach Sam Puryear. They're doing some awesome things in the world of college golf. So, Coach, hey, we want to yield some time for you. We've got juniors, we've got parents on. Any kind of wisdom, anything you want to share with them tonight?
Now, I think the one thing I'll touch on that was on your list was the NIL situation. I know it's a lot of times where a lot of the families listening, and they're probably saying Black Lives Matter. Well, Black lives only really matter if you can play golf. You can play really well. So because you're Black don't mean you're gonna get some cash to get support and you go to these institutions. So like in our program, we have 19 players. And I would say out of the 19 players, that's including men and women, about 10 of the students have had some sort of NIL deal. Some have been pretty small. A couple have been pretty substantial. So I think a lot of parents right now are probably not really understanding, or they're underestimating that the parents still have a role. They still have something to provide as far as prepping your kids for college as it relates to financial. No one is just going to come in and kick in and say, hey, I'm going to pay you $55,000 a year to go to school or whatever it takes. And I think we still have that responsibility as a family to take care of home. And then hopefully if your kid is that good a player, we can find him or her some additional dollars to go to school, because the scholarship allotment has not changed. What I mean by that is you still have 4.5 scholarships for men, 6 for women at the D1 level, and that hasn't changed, and I don't anticipate that changing. But right now, what has changed is that you can, if you do it the right way, you can find some money to basically pay to play. You can find some money to support your young person at the school. And I would love if parents really understood that, because I think that's pretty important. That would be something some of the other coaches have already talked about and touched on. Recruiting, what are you looking for, and SATs, I mean, all that kind of stuff. That'll probably be the one thing I would add, because I think the money is out there, and for the best, young and brightest, brown and Black, I think it's a lot of money out there for that group, if they do it the right way.
Hey, Coach. Coach Sam, can you talk about the percentage breakdown, and you tell me if I'm wrong or right? Talk about the importance of percentage of scholarship athletics that they can get compared to academics, and just talk about, like typically what's the max a junior player can get, and then talk about, why the academics are so important, so you can add that to the piece.
Well, whether it's a Howard or Stanford or Michigan State or Florida or Georgia, I mean, the best players are going to get a full scholarship. Now, what I'm finding is there are a lot of minority families, brown and Black, that think because their kid can shoot 74, 75, that they deserve a full scholarship. Not at a good program. That's not how that works. If your kid can go win and he or she are shooting on the par, and they're putting up numbers, they're going to get that money. Full scholarships are out there. But there are also situations now to be on a really good team, you're going to take less to play, because that team is looking to load it up with a lot of good players. I mean, the average team is about 9 players. So at about 9 players, and you're only using 4.5 scholarships, your best players, your A guys, your 2 dogs, they're getting full scholarships.
Okay.
You're going to have some guys that are going to come in and just get academic. But there's not a platform set to where everybody coming in is going to get $25,000 a piece. In my situation, I treat it like a job. The best players get more.
Gotcha.
And if you make a mistake as a coach, some conferences don't allow it, but in some conferences where if you give a kid some money 1 year, they're only 1 year contract still, you can reduce that number the following year.
Okay.
In some conferences, that's not allowed. So if you make the mistake as a coach and offer a kid 65% and he or she never gets to play, you have to honor that 65% if they don't do anything egregious towards their scholarship eligibility or university integrity piece. So that's why it's inherent upon coaches to make good decisions on players, or they're stuck with a bad decision for 4 years. At mid-tiered schools, everybody on this phone call is a mid-tier level coach. It's 1 year deals. You go in, do the wrong thing, your money can be reduced the following year.
Okay.
And I think that's really important for families to understand, because all of a sudden kids go to school and they want to be different. I had some questions I've had in the last 2.5 years. I had students come to me and say, "Coach, there's a protest going on. We want to protest. Do you mind if we protest?" Absolutely not. Go protest with your peers.
Mhm.
But practice starts at 3:00. You need to be at practice.
Right.
You protest all you want. But if you do something to affect your scholarship, then we got a problem. And I think young people need to understand it. I've had kids say in the last 2.5 years, one kid in particular, she wanted to hang out with her mom. She didn't want to practice. That's fine. There are consequences. Your choices create consequences. So your money will be reduced. And somebody else will come in and take that money. So it's as simple as that.
All right, Coach. I appreciate you breaking that down for everybody. And thank you for your time. Thank you for what you talked about with the NIL deals. That's the hottest topic right now, NIL, which you can get once you get to college. But I think for our juniors, we got to make sure that we're playing good, we're playing the right tournaments, we're exhibiting the correct behavior when you're on the course, because coaches look out for that. And maybe Coach Andy may talk about that in just a few minutes. But real quick, y'all, do we have Coach Penny on? Is Coach Charles Penny on? Can you let us know if you're on or not? Coach Charles Penny? I don't know if he's on or not. I don't see his name. So, okay. All right. So let's move on. And again, we'll open it up for Q&A at the end.
Well,
So, yes.
there's a young man on the Zoom user. I don't know whether that's Coach Penny or not, but he's got red and black.
Brandon, okay, I'm on here. Oh yeah, so he's on here as Zoom. All right, so now I got it. That's what I needed. Thank you. All right, Coach. I'm gonna add Coach Penny. There we go, Coach Penny. All right, so we got Coach Penny on. And so next up, you all, from Winston Salem State University, we have none other than the great Coach Charles Penny. All right, Coach Charles, take it away.
Good evening, everybody. As Rue has mentioned, my name is Charles Penny II, and I currently serve as the head golf coach at Winston Salem State University. And please be patient with me. I'm actually in Baltimore now at our conference basketball tournament to come support our basketball team. But I wanted to make sure that I was on here, one, because I believe presence is everything. So appreciate you, Rose, for the opportunity to come and to speak. My situation is a little bit different from all of our other coaches that are here. I see my big brother, Sam, and Andy up here. And so I'm glad to be amongst the cadre of golf coaches that are here. My position at Winston-Salem State, our golf program is in its second full year functioning since COVID. The golf team was involved in 2011 to bring on baseball, and once baseball's budget became too big, they needed to get rid of or balance out the budget, so they brought golf back. So we are a relatively new golf program in terms of being restarted. Right now, we have 6 guys, all capable of breaking 80. And so my position of recruiting is a little bit different. I can't be as picky as some coaches can be, because at this point, we've got to make sure we have enough bodies to fill rosters. But I say that to say as well, I'm not just going and saying to every kid, yeah, you can come play for me. The first thing that I always require of a student is to have at least 3.5 in my first wave of recruiting. the reason why is if I can get you to a 3.7, most of them is 3.7, you have a chance to apply for the Chancellor Provost Scholarship, which is the academic full or partial scholarship. That isn't going to say that you'll get it, but ultimately we know that your name is in the hat. Eventually, when it gets time to award scholarship dollars, those athletes will have, or these student athletes would have a chance at academic dollars. And so that way, my scholarship line being that small, we can stretch our scholarship dollars to have a well-rounded team and not have a couple of guys full ride. Now everybody else is shooting in the hundreds or the 90s. This my first recruiting class is now currently in school, and to go with that, I had a young man with a 5.6 GPA, one with a 3.9, and another with 3.8. All three of those gentlemen are on full ride scholarships, not full golf scholarships. Part of their academic subsidy that Sam was alluding to. And that has allowed me to have 3 young men that I knew could get the schoolwork done and then translate that to the weight room or to the golf course. When it comes to playing, my range of scoring is if I can get a kid that can shoot hard, great. But mostly 73, 74, your best day, and your bad day being 81 or 82. Once again, I don't have to be 50 right now because of the stage. But ultimately, the goal is to just to bring the culture and to develop a culture and make it a place that if you are sending your prospective athlete information into the school, you're saying I shoot around 73, 74, and not I shoot around 80, 85. But right now, 80 to 85, which is
Hey, coach, you're going out, coach. You're going out.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Ultimately, and when it comes to black and brown golf, one of the reasons why we don't see as many on the Division I level, or we don't see a lot on the field level, because our black and brown athletes just don't have the same amount of time as our white people. It's the exception of that can pick up a golf club and then they can get good of it a couple of years. So my obligation to Winston Salem State's golf program is to give more black and brown young men. We don't have a women's program yet. I'm working on that, but it's to give more opportunity to come play golf and develop your skill while getting your degree. And ultimately, competition will sort itself out. Like Andy or Sam will tell you, competition will always sort itself out. However, ultimately, you come to school to get a degree and to better yourself for the professional workplace. If professional golf is not your destination after you finish playing college. I'm glad to be on here. I don't really have a big spiel outside of that. There's some questions that you have directly towards Winston Salem State. At the end, I'll be glad to answer.
Okay, thanks, coach, and appreciate you being on in spite of you being at the basketball game. And we'll open it up for Q&A at the end, so that way if somebody has a specific question, they'll shoot it your way. Okay. All right. So last but not least, guys, this gentleman, he's got a special place in my heart. When the pandemic hit, we were just kind of stuck in the house about 3 years ago. And I reached out to him about doing some Zoom lessons with John, and he immediately jumped in, started doing some lessons with John, got his backswing in a good place. And so he's the former coach at Lynn University, which at that time was the #1 Division II school in the country, golf team in the country. And now he's the head coach at VCU up in Virginia. And so I want to bring to you all none other than Coach Andy Walker. Hey, Coach.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey.
So, first of all, thanks, Ro, for having me on. I appreciate the kind intro and the support the last couple of years since we met. You're doing a great job with the podcast and getting information to parents and juniors. There's been a lot of great information from all the coaches and your mom. I could tell how proud she is of you. I love that smile. And so I just want to, I think touching on a little bit of everything I always say that the difference between, and I don't know if you guys know my background, I've known Sam for forever. I've known Sam for over 20 years. Is, you know, I played, I was an AJG All-American. I ended up going to a junior college for a year. I got into a car accident in high school, and my senior year ended up going to a junior college, which ended up winning a national title. From there, I went and played at Pepperdine University, where I was the first African-American to win an NCAA team title, the first African-American male, because Larry Suggs had won one at UCLA. And then I went on and played on tour for 12 years, every tour imaginable, from the PGA Tour to the Korn Ferry, European Tour, Asia, Latin America, Canada, wherever it was. And so I've seen golf at every level. And then started coaching when I got done playing, and won some national titles at a junior college, South Mountain. Won again, and like Rose said, at the D2 level, and now I'm at the D1 level. And the difference between players at each level, from a good junior to a really good junior to an elite junior, from a junior college player to a great D1 player to a tour player, is awareness. And I think if we have awareness about what we're doing and we pay attention to the little things, we can make the recruiting process a lot easier. Perfect examples. I got an email from a kid yesterday who's a good player, and I don't know how to respond to this email, but in the email, it said, "Dear insert coach name here." Okay. And he started going through, and he said, "I would love to play insert university." And I was done, right? I was done. And I closed the email, and I was at practice, and I looked at my phone, and I saw the email, started reading, and I closed it. And then my assistant came up and said, "Hey, did you see an email that we got? This kid's pretty good." And I opened it up, and it happened to be that same one, but I was already kind of turned off, right? So obviously he took an email, and he just copy and pasted, and he forgot to fill that one out the correct way. I've been called other coaches' names on emails. I've had people say, "Hey, I'd love to come play for you at University of Virginia." I'm not at the University of Virginia. So, you know, I see a lot of different things. And, you know, it doesn't tell me if you're a good player or not, but it tells me your preparation and your awareness of this game, and a little bit about you. And are you the type of player that can come play for me in my program? And so, you know, I know every player here, when you talk about doing the resumes, playcollegegolf.net, you know, we started that a few years ago, Darren and I, and what Darren's done and taken it to the next level is great. It's the information that coaches want to see. There's no extra stuff in there. You know, I don't care if your grandfather started you playing 20 years ago and you have a dog that likes running on the golf course. It's not that type of resume. It's, what do you shoot? What are your grades? What's your eligibility number? You know, all the things that are pertinent to a coach making a decision of, I want to take the next level. I always say, personally, I like seeing regular speed swings, kids and parents. I don't want to see everyone swing in slow motion. Everybody's swing looks good in slow motion. I want to see your play rhythm. And so, you know, so the thing is, you know, it's really kind of be conscious. I think Coach Cole said something about do some research about the university and or the coach that you're playing. Use your friends as resources to these coaches. My best recruiting comes from my other players and playing with different players, and players reach out to my players on social media and ask them questions, and they get my players to be fans of theirs a little bit, which in turn, if my players like you and think you're a good caliber player, good quality you know, young man to come play on my team, then you know, that's probably going to matriculate to me in some form or fashion. So you know, I'd say think out of the box when you're doing a lot of recruiting. Parents, let the kids play. Right? We don't need to see the reactions. I understand. I have a son that plays a little bit of golf and plays basketball, and I'm probably not the best, you know, sports parent on earth, but I understand this game is hard. And because they 3-putt doesn't mean your water bottle needs to get thrown down the cart path, or because they hit one in the water. Because I guarantee all of the parents, and including myself here, have all 3-putted, and we're all going to hit one in the water. And so it's a tough game, but the coaches, we look at that. Because I look and sit there and go, that's not a bad player, but do I want to deal with that every day? Do I want to deal with that at tournaments? Do I want a kid hitting a golf shot and instead of analyzing the shot he hit, he's looking over to see the reactions for the parents? That's probably undue pressure that kid, is going to have to play with. So really, watch, because the coaches are watching the parents' demeanor as well. They're watching to see, I've had players, I see them, at junior tournaments, and the dad will grab, or the mom will grab the clubs out of the trunk and carry them to the range for the kid. And I go, no. Don't think you're coming to VCU and I'm going to be carrying your bag out of the van. So that ain't going to happen, right? So it's just the little things of let the kids play, let them fail if they need to, and they're going to be stronger because of that. And so, there's not a whole lot on here. I just say, like I said, the big part of awareness is know who you're talking to. I think a little bit of research can avoid some questions that may not need to be asked at some certain points. Kind of do your research. I think Coach Cole said is cast a wide net. I definitely believe that. I think Darren mentioned as well, everyone from Arizona wants to play at ASU, and everyone from, Virginia wants to play at UVA, but there's a lot of good schools in different states. Whether it's HBCU. I mean, Sam's team is good. I mean, we're a top 70 program right now in the country, and Sam's team beat us, in the tournament. And so they're good. There's good teams at every program and at every level. I mean, the D2 team I had at Lynn would probably be a top 30 D1 team. And so, don't get so caught up on the division they're playing in, the conference they're playing in. Look to see what is going to be conducive to you. If you are a player that needs a coach that's an instructor, seek those out, ask questions. If you're a coach that, a player that needs a coach who's played at a high level and you need to learn more game management and emotional support and management around a golf tournament, seek those out. You can find out who the different coaches are. If you need a coach that just gives you good resources and is a good manager, and you can handle yourself and you're self-sufficient in practice and play in preparation, there's those kind of coaches as well. And I think all of them are successful in every form or facet of what they're good at. So again, the awareness part of know who you're talking to, understand your audience, look and see some of the scores that you're shooting. The last tournament we just played in down in Alabama, we finished 6th in a pretty strong field, and no one on my team, everyone shot from 67. I think we had 173 that was a throwout. So everyone was like 67 to 71, 72, and we finished 6th in the tournament, right? So there's a level out there that we have to be realistic, but don't short yourself on that as well. Don't think that you can't compete, if you work hard, and I want your aspirations to be high, when you guys are going through this, but also be realistic at the same time and know that, you're probably number one dream school may not have a spot open. It doesn't mean you're not good enough to play there, but it may not have a spot open next year. And so, I think a lot of the questions that asked during recruiting time can be answered by having a little bit of awareness. If you look on the roster of a school and they've got 10 or 11 players, and there's a lot of, juniors and seniors, you probably know that there's going to be a spot opening up in the next year or so. So, and I think, Darren does a lot of that with the playcollegegolf.net as well, as it kind of shows you what spots are going to be open. So, like I said, I'm more than happy to answer, any questions. And, I appreciate all the parents and juniors. I was in your seat, so I understand what it is going through the recruiting process, and it's not an easy one, but take your time and trust your gut and know that it's your decision at the end. Obviously, the financial part of it are going to be, the parents are going to be support financially and emotionally. So they're going to play a big role in deciding what's available to you. But when you narrow down, at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to have to enjoy your time there. You're the one that's going to have to play and practice with this team, travel with this coach. There's a lot of things. I ask my players what kind of music they listen to, because if we're driving in that Sprinter van, we're listening to Nas and Jay-Z. I'm not listening to so you better be able to handle that, right? You shoot 65, I'll put on Garth Brooks if you want me to, but if you're not, that, I mean, it's an environment and a culture that we're trying to build as coaches as well.
Hey, Coach, thank you. I appreciate that. And Coach, touch on unofficial visits, official visits, if you don't mind. And then we're going to open it up for some Q&A in a few minutes, okay?
No, great question, great topic to talk about. Difference between an official and an unofficial visit is official visit, I can pay for everything for the student athlete. I can pay for you to fly in, put you up, feed you. The parents, I can put you up and feed you as well. I can't fly you in. Not saying that there aren't schools that probably do it, but it's not legal to do that. And an unofficial is I'm not paying for your transportation. I can provide a meal for you while you're there. And so that level of commitment, I would tell the parents and students alike, if there's you get 5 official visits, but maybe there's 10 or 11 schools you're interested in. The ones you can drive to that are within a day's travel time that you don't have to fly, I wouldn't waste those in official visits. I would use those as unofficial visits. The coach will appreciate that because it's going to save on their budget, but also it's going to save you so you can use the 5 official visits for ones that may be a little bit further away that would cost a little bit more. So really pay attention. When I grew up in Phoenix, so I went on an unofficial visit to ASU, unofficial visit to UNLV, unofficial visit to University of Arizona. Well, I paid, so we had an official visit, to go to Oklahoma. I had an official visit to go to University of New Mexico. So it was, you had to kind of do those the right way to make sure you didn't waste all your official visits. And then a school that you may be really interested in that's kind of far away, you can't go visit. So.
Hey, Coach, I appreciate that because I had no idea you only had 5 official visits. That's good.
You only get 5 official visits. Yeah.
Okay, appreciate that. All right, so hey, coaches, Mom and Coach Darren, man, we appreciate y'all being on the platform tonight. At this time, I'm going to open it up for Q&A from our audience. And give me a second. Let me allow everybody to unmute. So if you'll unmute, and if someone else is asking a question, just kind of stay muted. But if you're prepared to ask a question to our panel, we're going to ask you to unmute at this time so you can ask that question, okay?
So you have one question in the chat.
Okay, all right. So this question comes in from Keith. When we talk about junior golf events, what takes precedence in the eyes of golf coaches? For example, Under Armour, Junior Tour, US Kids, high school golf. And I'm asking because my area, there are no US Kids golf and no UA Junior Tour, but my son did make the high school golf team and participated in the JTI this year. Thoughts, respectfully, Keith.
I mean, I can answer that from my perspective.
Okay.
Probably not looking at US Kids, so much. My thing is there are no bad tournaments to play though. Competition's competition. The hole's 4 1/4 inches, whether you're playing a 4-man event at your local golf course or you're playing an AJGA or the US Junior. The hole's 4 1/4 inches, and so the scores are the scores. Now, obviously, it's probably tougher to win at an AJGA or UNL or US Junior type tournament, but sending as much information to the coaches so they can see. I like to see a lot of red in competition. So a perfect example of this is there's a kid that I got signed that's coming next year. He's a Virginia Player of the Year. He played in the US Junior. He's won 10 golf tournaments in the past 11 months. He just won a tournament this week by 9 shots, like 13 under par. He's never played in an AJGA tournament. So if you go to Junior Golf Scoreboard, which is kind of the ranking system a lot of people are using, he's ranked 20th in the state of Virginia, but he's a Virginia Player of the Year and by far the best player in the state of Virginia. So all of those tournaments and rankings and what tournaments he's playing in, the kid's made a professional cut, right? Already on a tour overseas, right? So, but he's ranked 20th here and nobody can beat him in this state. So, I would say any competition that you have is good. the JTI that I know they just played this week. I mean, Thorpe is my guy, so I'm obviously support that. But the more you guys play, I love what Steph and the guys are doing with the Under Armour tour, because they're providing an opportunity for our young sisters and brothers to go play big venues and travel and build relationships at these big venues that they're going to see at the next level. So my thing is get in the biggest tournaments that you can compete in. And when I say compete, not just play, but have a chance to finish top 5 or top 10 in. But besides that, as many golf tournaments as you can play is always going to help you get to the next level.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Keith, for that question. Thank you so much. All right. Any other questions, you all? Miller, you have a question? Okay. No questions for Miller? Okay.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen, and Rose, Mom. Thank everybody for being on the call. Can you go into a little bit more? And I forget who talked about. I remember if it was Coach Walker or Coach Perrier, but about about sort of how you evaluate parents in the recruiting process, and what's the best way for a parent to be an asset in the process and not be a detractor. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know I'll give you my take on that. I got some great advice, some great advice when I was a head coach at Michigan State. Coach Izzo told me, and I've adopted this philosophy 100%. He said his telephone is always open to a parent. He said, but if the parent wants to call and try to hear the truth about their kid, they better be willing to listen to the truth. So that being said, my phone is always open. So as you evaluate parents, I take it for what it's worth. Some coaches I know, they don't like talking to parents. I love talking to parents. I don't mind. But I will say, when we talk about your child, though, I'm going to be blatantly honest, because that's the only way I know how to be. That being the case, I don't think it's efficient to call and talk about playing time, because what I deal with are numbers. This is a numbers game. So I'm saving scorecards, I'm saving practice results, I'm saving statistics. It's funny, Andy was running off, Coach Walker was running off statistics and where this kid lands. All good coaches know those numbers. So when you start talking to the parent and you start running those numbers off, trust me, if you call the coach, be ready for the coach to give you the real deal on why your child is or is not playing. At that point, you have to then make the decision, is the coach really the problem, or is my child the problem by not playing good enough golf? All right. The second thing I see with programs, some parents that have the means think they can buy their way into a scholarship spot. Well, at some universities, unfortunately, that's true. And that is that you can do that. At a lot of programs where the coach has the integrity of the program first, you can't buy a spot on the team. And secondly, you can't buy a spot in the starting lineup. Andy just told you that he's throwing scores out of 73. Well, he's not going to put a guy that's a 78 shooter in the lineup because his parents are donating, $13 million to the program. He might think about it though, but he's not going to do it.
And want to do it.
Yeah, because Andy's goal is to win a national championship. So you can't do it. And so I think being able to work with your parents in a very transparent way, sometimes you have to have tough conversations with parents, but I think, to me, all good programs, the coaches and the parents should have enough relationship where it's simply respect. If you have a problem about your child, you should be able to call your coach. If it's a legit issue, you should be able to call your coach and have some constructive conversation with the coach about your child. If you call and have a gripe session and you want to beat the coach up because he's not playing your kid, I would probably warn you against doing that, if you don't have all the statistics in place. To me, it's about as simple as that.
And I want to add one thing to that. When you're talking with the coaches and anyone else on a college campus, make sure your son or daughter has completed a FERPA form. No matter what you discuss with the coaches or the dorm director or the financial aid director, if that form is not completed, the coach, the dorm director, the financial aid advisor can say, well, I don't have to talk to you because we don't have a form on file that gives us permission to talk to you as a parent.
And Mom, what's the name of that form again?
FERPA.
Okay. Can you put that in the chat?
Sure.
Appreciate that. All right. Thank you, Coach Sam. Appreciate that. All right. Any other questions, y'all, for our panel? We got Coach John Cole, Fayetteville State University. Coach Sam Puryear from Howard University. We got Coach Penny from Winston Salem State. We got Coach Andy Walker from VCU. And then, of course, we got Darren Harrell from playcollegegolf.net and Miss Phyllis Thompson from NACDRAO. Any other questions for our panel at this time? Okay. All right. All right, well, panel, I think we have done an awesome job answering most of the parents' questions. Thank you all so much for agreeing to do this tonight. And we'll do another one. We'll do another one soon. And I want to thank all of our members, for our listeners, for being on. And we'll get this out to everybody. We'll get a recording out to everybody. And again, thank you for you all for attending the college golf night. And thank you from everybody at the Junior Golf Podcast. We want to thank you all for being on, and y'all have a blessed night. Thank y'all so much. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Thank you, coaches.